Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. Just two relatively small things to cover, though the second topic, as you can probably tell from the title, probably needs a little bit of explanation because it's been a long time since the last time we talked about Beast of the Four Nations in terms of wait, it might still be happening type thing. First of all, Omnibus box set though. The set of 5 Omnibus editions, everything except Imbalance, so the Jin Yang Girihiro run. We talked about this in the last video. It has a slight update here. Now that the listing is up on Edelweiss, we know that it will also feature a bonus poster. This was not mentioned in the other listings. It just says here the art is going to depict the team's many adventures. Not sure if that means it's new art or if it's just going to be edited together in the same way that, like, say, for instance, the cover for the box doesn't really have anything new on it either. It's just, you know, it's just images from the comics themselves. I'm guessing the poster probably will be as well. And I'd be a little bit disappointed if the poster does have brand new art, just because to get it, as someone who has followed the comics for a long time, they're asking you to rebuy the rebuys. Like, you know, if you already have the Omnibus editions, you've already basically rebought the comics effectively, and now they want you to buy them again just to get this poster. No one's going to do that, so I hope the poster is probably just an edited together thing, just to highlight that this is more of a entry kind of item to get people into the Avatar comics, that you buy this and then the Imbalance Omnibus separate, and that is basically all of the main Avatar comics, and then you go into short stories and one-shots from there. It's a bit awkward. I think it could be to it being a little bit better priced, but I get it to a certain degree that, like, the Omnibus editions are already the value versions of the books, and they're cheaper than buying the 3 individual parts, and then you combine them together. I get it, but I also think, you know, it's asking a lot for anyone to maybe go in again on this, that sort of thing. But the news here is that we seem to have a bit of an update on Beast of the Four Nations. So where are we here? We are on the Instagram page for Devin L. Kurtz, who is/was the cover artist for Beasts of the Four Nations. So it's this cover, of course, because remember, this book was basically officially solicited. We had the cover, we had the deluxe set cover, we had a basic description of what it was meant to be, that it's some sort of a mix of like encyclopedia and art book about the animals of Avatar, and that was basically it. It got eventually cancelled, awaiting re-announcement, basically postponed indefinitely, and effectively since December 2022 we have not had an update on this book. We've been through so many publishing panels at conventions without them ever mentioning this, and it obviously highlights that I don't even think they've had a Q&A at one of the panels since that point either. So they haven't even opened up the door to allow people to ask about this either. But now we have a bit of an update. What that update is again, cover artist here. The post itself is kind of irrelevant ultimately. It's the fact that someone in the comments knew that this person is the cover artist for Beast of the Four Nations and asks, whatever happened to Beast of the Four Nations? The cover artist replies saying, I'm not sure, sadly. It got delayed due to the pandemic, and I'm not sure if it will move forward after all. So the cover artist, basically, as far as we're aware, did their work and is now unsure about the project. That fits with a lot of what we know of creatives involved, especially with Dark Horse, is that us as fans keeping track of this stuff probably do know a lot of times more about these details than some of the creatives involved. We get a thanks, you know, would have loved to have seen all the art. There is then a reply from another account, Julie Artwork, saying they are still working on it. And the interesting point about this, because you might be like, well, random person saying they're still working on it? Should I know this person? But then the cover artist replies saying, "Oh, that's great to hear," as if like, "Oh, I know you. It's good to know." Like, I guess they know that they were each involved on the project. But for clarification, Felipe here comes in and says, "Hi, sorry to bother. Can you elaborate on this? Did you work on it? Because this might be the first update we got on this book in years. It would be very good to know that it's still in development." And there is a reply, but the reply has since been deleted. But then there is a reply to that reply that we don't know what it is. That's great to hear. Looking forward to it. Thank you for your response. Your art is beautiful, by the way. Felipe messaged me and basically told me what the reply was. Now, I'm not sure if this is maybe exact quote or just a paraphrase, but I trust that this is effectively what was said. Straight from the DM, "I don't know how much I can say, but I'm working on art for it right now." So that is confirmation both that, one, this artist is, one, part of the Beast of the Four Nations project, and two, that someone involved with this book is currently, right now, working on stuff in relation to it. This is the first proper update on this book since, like I said, December 2022, which was when we got this information about basically the fact that, yeah, when people started to get their early pre-orders cancelled, the reason given by at least one person's shop was the publisher has stated that they will reoffer the title at a later date, but it has been cancelled by the publisher. There's no further details, and I think a lot of other people had similar stuff happen, sometimes without an explanation, sometimes with an explanation, something like this. But yeah, as far as we're aware, otherwise, yeah, postponed, awaiting some sort of a re-announcement, and we had not heard a single thing effectively about this book in the intervening kind of time. And now we hear it is still being worked on. At least one artist is doing work on it, but the assumption probably is that other artists are involved as well. Now, the reason I say that is because, again, think about what this book is meant to be, because it's been a long time since we've, in a way, had to think about this book. It's a full hardcover book. Encyclopedia on the animals of Avatar. A lot of it text expected, but also a lot of new pieces of art, because in a hardcover book from Dark Horse like this, you wouldn't expect them to use screenshots really. So full on new art. This is a giant project, bigger than, I would say, a lot of projects that they've had to work on up to now, especially a hardcover. Like the last new thing they worked on was the Korra Book 4 art book, which is years ago at this point. So a lot of organization has to go into putting a book like this together, especially with COVID happening back when it was initially kind of solicited. And the other big thing, Avatar Studios forming at basically the time when the early work on this is being done. And we know that stuff at Dark Horse got really badly messed up with that combination of COVID plus Avatar Studios kind of happening, because they had to switch from trilogies to the one-shots, and it's only now getting going on one-shots for Korra. And so a big book like this, where we know even something on, say, a smaller scale like a Patterns in Time, just a short story collection, seemed to be an absolute disaster trying to organize in or around this same sort of time period. So I would love to know more details of what exactly happened. Like, was it, like, has work been done on this book for this whole time, since like before kind of May 2021 all the way up to now? Or has it actually been basically postponed for a certain amount of time? No work has been done on it for a few years, and it's picked up again at some point in, I don't know, the last couple of months, recently. I don't really know. That they're the sort of details that we don't actually know. Like, what is the expected sort of like start to finish time on a book like this? I have no clue, because with a comic we usually have a good sense of what the timing is. Something like this is very unique and different. We haven't had a book like this, so it's hard to say. But again, the timer on this is pretty much just that, like, surely they're not going to keep people who have the other deluxe sets waiting like that much longer, because this is meant to be the 6th of the 6 deluxe sets. So it's going to have to be, you know, soon-ish. And again, like, if they're working on it now, surely it's not like that far away. Like we're talking about probably within the next, maybe, I don't know, year and a half. I like at a super stretch, you'd say like 2 years from now, hopefully. But I don't know. That's pure speculation. I don't know what the details really are. But that is the situation. So the takeaway is hope for Beast of the Four Nations. Just because the post was deleted and stuff like that, it's hard to know, because like we never had official confirmation of who was and wasn't working on this book. It's always sort of tricky there. But this person is an artist if you look at their profile. And it's a bit of a weird thing to lie about if that's the case. And almost what you would say is maybe the deletion of the post, which directly confirms they're involved in it, maybe highlights that, oh, actually, hey, that's that might have something to it. Maybe they were told to take it down. Doesn't mean that they'll announce Beast of the Four Nations again at New York Comic Con coming up next month. I suppose there's a chance. It now, like, I mentioned that in every single one of my speculations because I think it's super important, and it has been super important with this book to always keep mentioning it, to put the pressure on Dark Horse to be like, hey, you're not allowed to just, go silent on something like this. So it's nice to know that, like, oh, it is actually still happening. And it obviously opens the door to, well, maybe if publishing is ramping up again, this book being part of that makes sense. That maybe this will be the book that kind of Dark Horse used to maybe get themselves back on track. It is a notable big release whenever they put this out. I'm assuming it'll probably happen alongside, maybe to a certain degree, reprintings maybe of some of the other deluxe sets, because it's getting to be quite a while since like some of the earlier ones of them came out. Don't know what print runs are like on those, if like how available a lot of the earlier ones are, but it's been long enough that they probably will have to maybe do something like that. So I don't know. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts on this is. Obviously, it's not the clearest, most like precise information out there, but it also seems to be at the same time pretty direct about the book is still being worked on, which is brand new information as far as we're concerned. So hopeful doesn't give us any actual information about when we might actually see it again, but it's something. So yeah, in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on Beast of the Four Nations stuff happening with it again. When do you think we will actually see it? What do you make of this situation? And sort of some of the reasoning sort of given here, because like as far as like the cover artist is concerned, like, got delayed due to the pandemic. By delay there, do we mean the gap of time between it sort of like having a date and being sort of postponed indefinitely? Because the book also did just get its date moved like 4 or 5 times before it eventually got postponed. So it's hard to know who knows what about this book. It would probably take a Cara O'Neill explaining this to us at a convention to explain the full details about it. So let me know that below, but otherwise that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.